The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus. But the Pharisees and scribes began to complain, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." And so to them, Jesus addressed this parable. A man had 2 sons, and the younger son said to the father, "Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me." And so the father divided the property between them. After a few days, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country, where he squandered his inheritance in a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck that country, and he found himself in dire need. And so he hired himself out to one of the local citizens, who sent him to his farm to tend to the swine. And he longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed, but nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, "How many of my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat? But here am I, dying of hunger. I shall get up and go to my father, and I shall say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers.' And so he got up and went back to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But the father ordered the servants, 'Quick, bring the finest robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Take the fattened calf and slaughter it. Then let us celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found.' Then the celebration began. Now the older son had been out in the field, and on his way back, as he neared the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what this might mean. The servant said to him, 'Your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, and because of him, he was back safe and sound.' He became angry, and when he refused to enter the house, the father came out and pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, 'Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughter the fattened calf.' He said to him, 'My son, you are here with me always, and everything that I have is yours. But now we must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.'" My dear friends, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning to everyone. As I mentioned in the introduction of the Holy Mass, today is Laetare Sunday. Laetare is Latin word for rejoice. Kung tayo ay nasa Advent season, this is the equivalent of the Gaudete Sunday. And the color of our celebration is the color pink or rose to signify joy and anticipation, because the day of our salvation is drawing near. Laetare Sunday. But what are we to rejoice about? The Gospel gives us the reason. We read from Luke chapter 15, And it is the very famous story of the prodigal son. We all know that story, that very long story. I don't know if you were still listening to me as I was reading the gospel. No? The prodigal son. You know, the term prodigal has two meanings. A good one and a negative one. The good meaning, prodigal means lavish or extravagant. But the negative meaning is yung sa Tagalog ang tawag natin bulagsak o pabaya. No? When you become irresponsible in the management of your resources, that is also the meaning of the prodigal. Although nowadays, when we hear the word prodigal, it means now the evil son. So the prodigal son, the younger son. Let us reflect on what happened to the younger son. The journey of the younger son. Actually, we can all identify with the different characters in the parable. But let me focus our attention on the youngest son. What was the journey of his conversion? What happened to the younger son? Number one, rebellion. We saw that in the life of the younger son. He rebelled against the father. Why rebellion, father? He rebelled against the father because he demanded his share of his inheritance. Can you imagine? Those who are parents here, those who are a little bit old in age already, can you imagine your children coming to you and telling you, Father or Mother, I cannot wait for you to die. Give me now my inheritance. Kailan ka ba mamamatay? Ang tagal-tagal naman. Pwede bang ibigay mo na yung mana ko? Because you only get your inheritance once your parents are dead. Even though the parents have a last will and testament, you cannot legally own that inheritance unless your parents or your father dies. But that is what the youngest son did. Are you dead yet? I cannot wait for you to die. Now, imagine how insulting that is. And so it was an act of rebellion against the goodness of the father. But the father was good. And so what did the father do? The father gave him his inheritance. In a way, what happened to the younger son? He did not believe on the goodness of his father. Maybe he was thinking, oh, my father might be hiding something from me. Oh, my father might not give me my inheritance, so I will demand it. Instead of waiting for it, instead of receiving it, I will take it away from you. I will grab it from you. Rebellion. You know, Pope John Paul II, now Saint John Paul II said, what is sin? Sin is when we doubt the fatherhood of God. Sin is when we doubt the fatherhood of God, when we don't believe that God wishes goodness upon us. I doubt your goodness, so I will take goodness from you. That is sin. You know, my favorite story, it's not story, it's a real life story. I had a friend once that I visited in a hospital. His son, around 2 to 3 years old, suffered first-degree burns in the face and in the arms. And so I asked him what happened. He said, Father, one time my wife prepared porridge for my son. It was still very hot, so I was still stirring it for it to cool down. I was hinihipan ko para lumamig, but my son, my son could not wait. So what did he do? He took it from me. Hinablot yung mainit na lugaw. And so what happened? It was poured upon him, that boiling hot porridge. And so he suffered first-degree burns on the face and in the arms. But I could not forget what the father said. The father said, ito namang anak kong ito para naman sa kanya to, kung nakapaghintay lang sana. This is for him, after all. Why did he have to rush? Why can't he wait? That is what happens when we doubt the fatherhood of God. Hindi ba totoo yan? Pag hindi natin nakuha yung gusto natin, anong attitude natin? Nagtatampo tayo sa Diyos. We rebel against God. Or, kung hindi ba natin makuha, God, what do? We want it and we demand it according to our own calendar. I will not wait for your way. I will do it my way. And so it is an act of rebellion when we doubt the fatherhood of God. What happened to the son? After he has taken his share of the inheritance, he went away. The total act of rebellion is now complete. So that can happen to us right now. We might be in a state of rebellion against God. Or maybe rebellion against our own siblings, rebellion against our fathers and mothers, because we doubt their goodness to us. Secondly, what happened to the son? After the act of rebellion, there was realization and then return. He realized that he had to go back to the father. Why? Because after taking his inheritance, after spending it on an evil life, on a life of dissipation, it was all gone. It was consumed. And then, according to the story, a famine came. There was a famine. You know, when we read it, sometimes we say, oh, that's your punishment. God is now punishing you. That's why there is a famine. But actually, no. The famine is the natural consequence of our sin. The famine is the natural consequence of the rebellion of the son. Why? He thought that what is most important is the inheritance. But what did he realize? In a painful way, he realized that the most important thing is not the inheritance. The most important thing is the relationship with the Father. Sometimes that can happen to us. We prefer the gift over the giver. We prefer the things, the gifts, over our relationship. I have known many brothers and sisters who will fight over their inheritance. They will sue one another in court. Ipinagpapalit yung kanilang ugnayan dahil sa mana. Hindi ba nangyayari yan? They prefer the gifts over the relationship. There are some children, who plan the death of their parents. There are some husbands or wives who plan the death of their spouse so that they can get the life insurance. That's true. That can happen. We prefer the gifts over the giver. We prefer the resources over the relationship. What did the youngest son realize? Oh, when I have the gifts will be consumed after some time. Mauubos din yung pera. Mauubos din yung property. What is most important? The relationship. And that is why he said, I will go back to the Father. After the realization, the return. Why did he come back to the Father? Because he realized that the Father is the unending source of happiness. When you have the gifts will be consumed after some time. But when you are with the giver, you will always be secure. There will never be any famine. Sana ganun din po tayo, na ang hinahanap natin, hindi lang yung biyaya ng Diyos. Sana ang hinahanap natin yung Diyos na nagbibigay ng biyaya. Hopefully, we long not only for the grace of God, but we long for the God who gives us graces and gifts. Hopefully, we will realize that. And after realizing, we return. They should never be separated. Because conversion happens when we return. That is the difference between Judas and Peter. Both Judas and Peter betrayed the Lord. Both of them had a realization that they have done something evil. What is the difference? Judas did not return to Jesus. He took his own life. But Peter trusted in the fatherhood of God. He trusted in the mercy of the Lord. That is why after the realization, he returned. And this will bring us to the third phase of the Son's journey, restoration. The Son said, I no longer deserve to be your son. Treat me as one of your servants. But what did the Father do? When he saw the Son even far off, he ran towards the Son. And what did the Father say? Give him the ring. Give him the sandal. Give him a robe. All of those are symbols of sonship. Even though the Son said, I am no longer your son, I no longer deserve your son, what did the Father do? I will restore you in your sonship. That is the mercy of God. Even though we have forsaken our original beauty, God is willing to restore us to our original beauty. You know, when I read that portion in the Gospel, when it says, the Father ran towards the Son, and the Father even embraced him, you know, there was a rule during that time of the Lord, that when a son disrespects the Father, the village people can stone that child to death. Huh? Kapag binastos mo ang magulang mo, pwede kang batuhin hanggang mamatay. Yan ang karapat-dapat sa iyo. That was the rule, that was the law. When the father disrespects the parents, the child can be stoned to death. And so why did the father embrace the son? Because the townspeople might say, oh, this is the prodigal son, let's kill him. And so why did the father embrace the son? Ay, hindi siya tatamaan, ako na lang ang masasaktan. If you are going to stone him, I will be the one who will be hit by the stone. That's the reason why the father embraced the son. No wonder the elder son was so angry. No? After he squandered all your property, now you will restore him, but that is the mercy of God. You know, sometimes, like the elder son, we rebel also against the father because we are self-righteous. We think we are the one who is without sin. But when we hear this parable, we should imagine ourselves as the younger son. And when you imagine yourself as the younger son, then the story will make sense. We are going to be restored. You know, I remember right now, in Japan, there is what they call kintsugi art. No? What is kintsugi? When something becomes broken, for example, a pot or a plate, when it is broken, usually we throw it away, right? But in Japan, they don't throw it away. What do? They take something broken and they put it together again by resin. Okay? And what happens after putting it together again? No? That broken image, it will be transformed and it will be restored. You see that golden vein that flows? No? They do not only put it together back with resin, they put gold in it. And so what was supposed to be already trash is transformed and restored into a work of art. You know, that is God's restoration. That golden vein that you see in that broken pot, that is God's mercy running through our brokenness. My dear brothers and sisters, how do you look at yourself? Most of the times when we sin, when we failed, we look at ourselves as broken. Okay? Like that, broken into different pieces. But how does God look at us? God does not look at us that way. He looks at us this way. transformed because of His mercy. That is the restoration of God's mercy. And here we see the difference between the devil and God. Because the devil takes something beautiful and breaks it. What does God do? God takes something broken and restores it to something beautiful yet again. Yun ang pagkakaiba ng demonyo at ng Diyos. Ang demonyo sinisira ang maganda. Ang Diyos binubuo uli ang nasira. And that is why this Sunday is Laetare Sunday, Rejoice Sunday. Because just like the prodigal son, we rebel. But hopefully, just like the prodigal son, we will have a realization and we will return to God. And when we return to God, we can rest assured that we can also be restored.